rather than looking at a direct lighter this Sunday, I thought we'd look at Firesteels. Now I've got one here. This is a Swedish Light My Fire, I believe they're called, Swedish Firesteel. Yeah, made in Sweden. Light My Fire, there we go, it's on that bit. Probably quite hard to see on the camera due to like the colour of the red. But so Firesteels are basically ferrocerium rods, normally ferrocerium. And so what that is, when you have a striker and a lighter, you know, like the flint, that's normally ferrocerium. So when you flick that, it's creating friction with the ferrocerium, which makes sparks. So what Firesteel is basically a ferrocerium rod, normally of a steel, bit of, you know, metal steel, that you use to strike it. And when you strike it, it creates sparks. Those sparks create fire. So the idea is, you get the Firesteel and you get the striker, you'd get some kindling and your fire ready to go, and then you'd strike down like that and it creates a fire. It's a really simple process and these last ages, and you can buy them fairly cheaply. So they're always a really good thing in a survival kit because you know they're going to work. They don't rely on actually outside fuel sources. You need your ferrocerium and your metal. And if you didn't have this bit of it and you just had a ferrocerium stick, you could still strike it with probably a coin or something like that and get it to work. So to demonstrate it, as I said, they work better if you're pointing them downwards, but just for the sake of the video, just so you can see it on camera, I'm going to do it like this. If I get this in a comfortable position, there we go. So hopefully you can see some sparks there. So yeah, these are really good. They're very simple to use. As I said, when you're using it in an actual fire, you'd have it pointed down like that and just sort of do that into your kindling. So they don't obviously output as much heat into one area as a lighter would, which is kind of the downside to them. You need some quite flammable kindling set up and then a bit of patience to get it going, but they do obviously get stuff going in the end. And unlike a lighter, they're not as vulnerable to wind and things like that, or, you know, the elements. If it's really cold, these are still going to work. You know, it doesn't need a direct fuel source like a lighter does. You just need the ferrocerium rod. And you can get lots of different versions of these. Somewhere, and I have no idea where I've put it, I had one of those Beargroves ones that was quite good. It was like a waterproof case for it. Then you had a big ferrocerium rod and a striker, like it came apart, and you had two separate ones. Like, this is good in the sense the paracord keeps them together, but at the same time I wish it was a bit longer, you know, more out of the way, because I find on this the paracord makes it a bit, you know, of a pain in the arse to strike, but that's just me probably. But the Beargroves one, you had another waterproof like O-ring part where you could open it up and you could store like flint, or not flint, sorry, lint, or you know, like cotton wool. So you could soak that cotton wool in something flammable, put it inside of the O-ring, and then when you wanted to start a fire, you could get that cotton wool out, put it down, put the Firesteel on, you know, put it on the rest of the fire, and you had, you know, quite a flammable object to light, so it would, you know, start a fire. What you could always do with one of these is have this in a can of lighter fluid rather than the lighter, and I mean actual like Zippo type lighter fluid. Then you can pour the lighter fluid down onto the object you want to light, then you can just do that obviously, and it will go straight up. So I really do like Firesteels. I've not done all that many videos on them, but they are really good. I think the great thing with Firesteels is they don't take up much space. As you can see on this Flecktarn jacket, I've got a pocket here. If I just pop that in, it will go into the pocket easily. And there we go, we've got space for the Firesteel in the pocket. When I needed it, I could just, you know, open up the pocket, get it out. So you could carry several of these, you know, either in a rucksack, some in your pockets, whatever. And compared to a lighter, they're a lot more reliable in working, but they're, you know, not as sophisticated. It's a what can go wrong, will go wrong scenario. These are great. But as I said, it's going to take longer for you to actually get something to light because of how they work. But for the sake of, you know, actually just doing a video on them, they are really good things. You know, there's not much to say about them other than what I've just said, you know, that they are very simple, but they work because they are simple, which is what I like. So yeah, I'd recommend you get some. I said this Swedish Light My Fire one is very good. These are like quite a good selling brand of them. You know, it's they've got the thumb holes on there so you can hold the bits. So it'd work either left or right-handed, but you know, I'd always have the striker in my right hand. But you can get various brands of these. You can also buy the ferrocerium rods themselves, sometimes very cheaply, just for big ferrocerium rods, so you could, you know, buy some spare rods. Because with ones like this, when it wears out, you think you're pretty much just meant to bin it. It might be possible to somehow glue another rod in there, but generally the price of these and how long they last, you don't need to do that. I said if you wanted to, you could buy a load of ferrocerium rods separately and then just have your own striker, get out the rod and use your striker on it. So there's lots of different ways you can buy these. As I said, I've got the Gerber Bear Grylls one I really wish I could find, and I have no idea where it is, just like one of my Gerber knives that I really like. It's probably in a coat pocket somewhere and I can't find where the coat is of it in. But as said, Firesteels are really good. I'd highly recommend them for some sort of bug out or survival situation, or just to keep as a backup when you've got, not for like lighting a cigarette or anything like that, but when you need a backup to your actual lighter in some sort of outdoors scenario, I'd always have a Firesteel, because, you know, sod's law, quite often when I've tried lighters that work fine indoors, when you want them they don't want to work. So there you go, Firesteels, they are a great thing for a bug out bag.